Hey guys, I am back with the 8th tutorial of the total of 10 different skills in the BlueAlpha marketing plugin. So we covered auto-optimize, audience intelligence, brand refresh pipeline, SEO paid bridge, competitive conquest, geo expansion, full Monty, and now we're actually going to look at the competitive counterpunch, which helps you detect competitors gaining auction share and actually plans countermeasures. So this is actually a natural follow-up from the competitive conquest skill that we just ran earlier, as it uses auction insights to actually detect when competitors are gaining impression shares and plans reactive countermeasures. Since we already have the competitor landscape map, the data will be richer. So let's invoke this skill competitor counterpunch. Here we go. And while this is loading and you only started to tune in now, I am demoing the different skills of our BlueAlpha marketing plugin, which we've built, which also has a BlueAlpha MCP. And this BlueAlpha MCP actually connects to your Google account. We're releasing Meta, TikTok, LinkedIn actually by the end of this week. It's Monday, 11th of May. And we also have an MMM MCP. So if you have a Meridian object, you can also load that in and chat to all of your data within Claude. As you can see here, it's actually pulling from our real BlueAlpha account. So everything that I'm showing is real and live data. In terms of, you can already see like what different tools it's actually using, but like, okay, first let me check if there's a brand campaign that I might have missed and pull auction insights and CPC trends. I actually found a brand campaign, but it's paused, right? And this was actually one of the example campaigns that we created earlier. And now it's actually starting to pull auction insights from the active non-brand campaigns and also checks the brand campaigns history before it was actually paused. But there was actually no history because we always created it paused. And as I also said, this is live, so there's no pre-recorded, and you can actually see how Claude, for example, is working through some of the potential problems that it encounters and uses the MCP to work around it here. As I said, zero historical data. It was paused before any spent because we actually created it when curators and this had as like created it paused. All right, I actually spared you all of the running. So the analysis finished, excellent data, of course, thank you so much. Just kidding. Now I have the full picture. Let me update the skills, and it is putting together the full analysis. And as we see, there's an overall severity of like medium. So there is chronic competitive pressure, but a critical vulnerability exists in the past brand campaign. So let's actually dive into this. Impression share captured 18.9% over the last 2 days, very little. Lost to rank, so actually lost to competitors, is almost 60%, which means our competitors are actually outbidding us, which is a bit of an alarming insight. And then lost to budget is 23.3%, which is like budget constraints. And then yes, we have this one brand campaign actually paused. So the actual findings of the skill in particular, okay, brand campaign is paused, zero brand defense, which is actually interesting because we are still a startup at this stage. So I don't even think there's anyone bidding largely on our like brand terms. This obviously would be a huge problem if you're like a large, well-known brand, even though we actually saw and measured in multiple cases that people tend to overspend way too much on brand. Having some brand spend on just to play defense is extremely crucial. Then the chronic pressure, as already like we saw here, is like, okay, 57.8 impression share consistently lost to rank. So competitors are actually outbidding BlueAlpha on non-brand terms across every week of the analysis. This is a steady state competition, not a sudden attack. And this actually fluctuates between 38 and 83 weekly, but the trend is flat and not escalating. And then no competitor brand bidding escalation detected. Leaked into 23 competitor brands, leaked into non-brand campaigns via broad match, but only 80 per person, 2 clicks and 0 conversions. This is a passive leakage, not targeted attack by any competitor, right? So kind of undermining the effect, what I mentioned, that we potentially don't even have to do any brand campaign because not really people are bidding on our terms. Same here. No new BlueAlpha search in the non-brand campaigns, which is great. So we actually have a clean brand separation. And then we also see a stable CPC. So if we look at the weekly performance trend over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, we actually here see clicks somewhat being consistent, right? With an average CPC between, what is this, $9 and $15. And here are the actual like CPAs based on the conversions. So recommended countermeasures is to actually reactivate campaign immediately. I will actually like dive into this now like a little bit deeper in terms of, do we actually need to reactivate the brand campaign? Add competitive brand negatives to non-brand campaign, because there is some leakage. Okay, that's good. Deploy conquest campaign already spec'd. Yeah, this was in the previous tutorial, so if you missed that, just look for the competitive-conquest tutorial, and then monitor auction insights weekly. Set up a weekly check of auction insights. If any competitors overlap, rate exceeds 15% on brand terms, escalate to full counterpunch. Makes sense. Also putting together some escalation triggers here of if a competitor enters brand auction and then whether brand CPC spike is larger than 2x. As well, bottom line that there's no active competitive attack happening. This 57.8% share loss to rank is a chronic category competition, not a targeted incursion. CPC isn't stable. So given that no one is actually attacking us, do I even need the brand campaign? Or can it stay? So what does it actually say? Fair challenge. Right now you find organic is capturing your brand searches cleanly and nobody's bidding on BlueAlpha. The reason I flagged isn't about the tail, it's about what happens after you launch the Conquest campaign. When you start bidding on NorthPM and Rockerbox, their marketing teams will see on their auction insights report to standard playbook for a competitor who notice you conquesting them is to retaliate by bidding on your brand. It's reflexive. Most paid search managers do it within a week of spotting a new competitor. Okay, interesting. So it would be me actually starting to launch this now, knowing that we'll have this conquest campaign that actually starts to attack our competitors, which makes sense. And here, my honest recommendation, keep it paused for now, but have it ready to unpause the same week you launch the conquest campaign. Think of it as an insurance you don't pay for until you actually need it. The 100-day budget won't spend much on low brand volume anyway. You would probably burn $5 to $10 per day max, but it means a competitor retaliation on your name gets pushed below you instead of sitting alone in your brand SERP. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. And thank you for listening in. And I hope this was value, and I hope you have a great time playing around with our BlueAlpha marketing plugin and our MCP. See you soon.